Cha Yin had returned back to Korea from Africa where he served as a sergeant in a special forces unit. The reason behind his return was the obituary of the death of his younger twin brother. He held a funeral for his brother. Later, while going through the articles of his deceased brother, he noticed a pocket watch that he himself had gifted to his brother. Despite being rusty and broken, it suddenly started working as Yin Wu touched it. Through the pocket watch, a hologram of his brother appeared and flooded inside his brain. It contained his brother's memories as a diary. Yin learned that a few years ago his brother was transported to a brand new world which contained the Tower of the Sun God, Obelisk. There, his brother learned that he could obtain an elixir to cure his ill mother if he reached the top of the tower. His brother began climbing the tower with people that he met and created a clan called Arthia. Due to their extreme climbing speed, the contemporary clans, who wanted to maintain the status quo, began harassing them. However, Arthia fought back. Eventually, many of the big clans waged war against them, but they defeated the alliance and became the most famous clan in the tower. Arthia became one of the 10 largest clans in the tower, and Zheng became the 9th strongest person in the tower, while the people he began climbing with became high rankers. A few years later, Arthia became the 5th strongest clan. However, soon after, traitors began emerging within the clan and the members began to lose trust in each other. A few months later, Zheng finally managed to get his hands on the elixir. However, he was alone and on the run from the alliance of the remaining top 8 clans, except one Horn tribe. Everyone that he trusted had betrayed him. He died after being stabbed in the heart with swords tipped with divine iron by his former lover, Vieira Dune, his former companions, Leonte and Bahal, the leader of Red Dragon, Summer Queen, and Gluttonous Emperor, a maniac that wished to eat Zheng's dragon flesh. Yin obtained his brother's dragon body, a legacy he inherited from ancient dragon Calatus on the 11th floor, which allowed him to transform into a dragon and display its might. However, it required Yin to grow his vessel, his body and soul, before he could obtain the entire legacy. At the moment, he was only able to complete 5% of the succession process. Then, he resigned from the military and went to the place connecting to the tower according to his brother's memories. He wore a mask on his face to avoid anyone from connecting him to Zheng, his identical twin brother, to catch his brother's murderers unaware and avenge him. At the start of the tutorial, Yin met Yavilk, one of the 12 zodiacs and the manager of the tower's tutorial. Yavilk informed him that it had been a week since the month-long tutorial began, which would lead him to be at a disadvantage, and suggested that Yin wait until the next tutorial. However, Yin decided to proceed with this tutorial since he was confident he could pass through the 7 sections within 3 weeks with the help of the knowledge he gained from his brother's memories. The first section required the user to pass through a corridor filled with arrow traps which they had to either avoid or block. For different actions, the user was rewarded differently. For example, if he blocked a group of arrows with a weapon, his strength rose by 1. If he blocked a group of arrows with his body, his health rose by 1. And if he dodged a group of arrows, his dexterity rose by 1. Soon, however, Yin Wu realized that among the group of arrows there was one arrow that had a colored arrowhead. The colors ranged from red, blue and yellow. After some experimentation, Yin Wu concluded that blocking a red arrow with a weapon raised his strength by 3, blocking a yellow arrow with his body raised his health by 3, and dodging a blue arrow raised his dexterity by 3. Through his superhuman perseverance, after 34 hours, Yin Wu finally managed to reach the safe zone where his wounds were completely healed. Exhausted, he fell asleep. As he woke up, he found himself face to face with a strange man who he realized was the mysterious merchant, the tower's shop system. He used all 55 of his stat points to exchange for 10 Section A reset tickets that would allow him to redo Section A through the use of the reset tickets. He did Section A, again and again, each time increasing his clear speed and the amount of stat points earned. By his 10th attempt, he only required 4 hours to finish the section and earned over 200 stat points in total. He also greatly increased the mastery of his 2 skills, sense strengthening and the draconic eyes. Finally, he moved on the boss room. The boss room required him to first go through traps and then defeat 88 copper scarecrows to move to Section B. Initially, he had some trouble defeating the solid scarecrow, but with some advice from Yul and the use of his draconic eyes, Yin Wu easily managed to locate its core and destroy it. Yin Wu offered to take Yul, who had been abandoned by his teammates, to the safe zone of Section B in exchange for Yul teaching him how to feel and see mana. The latter instantly agreed and taught Yin Wu a lot about mana while moving towards the exit. Yin Wu finally reached Section B and became the center of attention since the people residing in the safe zone were able to guess that he solo cleared Section A. However, he didn't care about them since he realized that they were all dropouts, people that gave up after barely clearing Section A. He then parted way with Yul, who seemed reluctant but didn't stop him. Just as Yin Wu left, Yul's former teammates that abandoned him approached him. He reproached them and told them to get lost. They apologized and wanted him to keep what they did to him a secret. Yul was so miffed that he didn't give them any response. Vexed, Kan, the leader of Yul's former team, decided to kill Yul so that he doesn't spill the beans about their dirty deeds. He was willing to do this because he and his team were on track to being recruited by Orangdan, a subsidiary of Changwado, one of the 9 top clans in the tower. However, Orangdan was very particular about its recruits and only wanted people with a spotless record. Just as Kan was about to draw his sword, Yin Wu appeared and cut off his right arm. Yin Wu inwardly cursed himself for getting involved in someone else's business. However, he couldn't stop himself once he saw the image of Yul being betrayed by his teammates. Yul's face kept overlapping with his brother's who had been similarly backstabbed by his teammates. Thus, he decided to protect Yul. He snapped Kan's spine, crippling him, and then proceeded to attack the remaining enemies and also crippled the 3 of them. Yul heartily thanked Yin Wu, who advised the former to visit Frisia Garden, a place where he could grow his gift of being able to see mana to become an enchanter. Right after Yin Wu left, 2 men among the dropouts became highly interested in the battle prowess he displayed. They didn't seem to care that Yin Wu had earned the ire of Orangdan by crippling its recruits and instead wanted to recruit him to join them. Thus, they followed him. Yin Wu had arrived at the entryway to Section B. The entryway had 4 different colored gates: white, blue, red and black, from left to right. Yin Wu recalled that Zheng Wu chose the blue door and regretted it since he missed a great weapon that could only be found behind the black door. Thus, Yin Wu chose the black door. The first trial within Section B was the Pond of Heavyweight Water. Yin Wu avoided it and found the hidden switch which opened the secret dungeon, Room of Frost and Flame, which hid the Temple of the Vampire Lord where Batory's vampiric dagger was located. Within the dungeon, he entered the Cave of White Moss where he encountered the beast known as Red Ogong. After a fierce struggle that left his body in tatters, he prevailed. During the battle, he obtained 2 skills: physical resistance and combat will. Due to having lost a lot of blood in the battle, he was on the verge of losing consciousness. Still, he somehow forced himself to move and put some white moss in his mouth, which immediately melted and flowed down his throat. Then, he chomped onto the heart of the deceased Red Ogong. The water property of the white moss combined with the fire property within the Red Ogong's heart and created a piece of flame heart and frost crest, causing Yin Wu's physique to strengthen. Yin Wu then continued forward while killing monsters and consuming their hearts along with white moss. By the time he reached the colony of blue army ants, his flame heart and frost crest was 16.2% completed. Even though Yin Wu had killed over 100 monsters on his journey, thus far, they had been killed in groups of less than 5. However, he knew that once he attacked one ant, the remaining hundreds of ants would immediately learn of his presence and attack him together. Even he could not defeat hundreds of monsters simultaneously. Thus, he devised a method to slaughter all the ants without directly engaging them in combat. He grounded the remains of monsters with fire property into powder, which he then scattered all over the closed cave and set the powder on fire. This resulted in a massive explosion which injured almost 400 blue army ants. He then rushed into the ant tunnel to locate the Temple of the Vampire Lord when his path was blocked by the severely injured blue army ant queen. Through the simultaneous use of his combat will and sense strengthening, Yin Wu managed to locate the temple and rushed inside it while evading the ant queen. Inside the temple, he saw a statue that stood right in the middle of an altar, glowing with a crimson aura. The statue depicted a woman with snake-shaped hair and long sharp fangs. Her lifelike eyes gave off the illusion of her coming alive. The woman was none other than Erzabet Batory, the Vampire Lord, and in her hand was a dagger. The dagger was about 30 centimeters long, and had a handle with a reddish tint and an azure blade uniquely shaped like a lightning bolt. The dagger was none other than Batory's vampiric dagger. After Yin Wu picked up the dagger, it attempted to corrupt him through his right hand. However, thanks to Zheng Wu's memories, he knew how to control it and return the dagger back into being a skill. He raised the dagger and stabbed the back of his left hand. Suddenly, the black energy that attempted to corrupt him began to withdraw. Then, it poured down and congealed on the back of his left hand and his palm. It turned into a skill that Yin Wu absorbed. Yin Wu then exited the temple and rushed towards the screeching ant queen. He jumped on top of her head and used his newly obtained skill Batory's vampiric dagger, which chomped down onto its head and absorbed all its vitality. Yin Wu gained a few stat points and his flame heart and frost crest more than doubled, reaching 35.9%. He then feasted on the stat of the remaining 311 ants and killed all of them before leaving the collapsing ant tunnel. Soon, he managed to complete his flame heart and frost crest after he killed his 1000th monster, a brown-scaled salamander. This caused him to obtain the trait, Reinforced Physique, which greatly improved his vessel and resumed the halted succession process from 5% to 21.3%, thus evolving his incomplete dragon body to immature dragon body. Meanwhile, the two dropouts had been following behind Yin Wu and were surprised to see traces of him deliberately fighting the strong monsters inside the dungeon. What left them even more surprised was the fact that Yin Wu seemed to be getting stronger as he went deeper into the dungeon, since there were fewer signs of struggle compared to the battlefield where Yin Wu fought the Red Gong, despite the fact that monsters deeper into the dungeon tended to be stronger. However, what left them utterly shell-shocked were the dried-up carcasses of the blue army ants, a phenomenon that could only be caused by the use of an energy drain skill, something few high rankers possessed. Finally, they managed to catch up to Yin Wu, but he sensed them before they could sense him. He believed they must be experts of Orangdan since they were able to reach quite close to him without him noticing. Thus, he threw his dagger towards the weaker-looking individual, who was surprised to suddenly see a dagger flying at him. His companion blocked it and yelled at Yin Wu. Yin Wu argued back that anyone would be suspicious if someone tracked them like so. The two realized their mistake and apologized. Then, Khan, the third on the ranking, outright invited Yin Wu to join his team. Doyle, 11th on the ranking, turned his embarrassed face away while Yin Wu wondered,